Hello, friends. Welcome to My Duke and I, a podcast on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. This podcast will air weekly. We will be discussing Harry and Meghan's partnerships with the Commonwealth Nations. These partnerships consist of their projects, patronages, as well as the Commonwealth youths.
Okay, so Denise, before we continue, let's just introduce ourselves to our listeners, let them know who we are. Let me start off with myself. I'm Anita and I'm from the Commonwealth of Dominica and I currently reside in the United States.
I'm Denise. I'm originally from England. My parents were from the island of Jamaica, and I currently reside in the United States.
Okay, so what are we talking about today?
We are going to be discussing Harry and Meghan's roles as ambassadors to the Commonwealth countries. I don't know if you know this, but there are actually 53 Commonwealth countries, Anita.
That's a lot of countries. Could you tell us who and what is the Commonwealth?
The Commonwealth was actually founded back in 1949 to promote democratic rule of law, human rights, good governance, and social economic development. It's been around for quite a long time. The British Empire, it actually dates back when some countries were ruled directly or indirectly by Britain, which is now called the UK. These countries became independent and were self-governed while retaining the British monarch as head of state, thus forming the Commonwealth of Nations. And so, yes, the Queen is still currently the head of the Commonwealth Nations, with the Secretary General, the lady from your home country.
Yes, oh, she's brilliant. Just to give our listeners some information, can you tell us who are some of these countries?
These countries that make up the Commonwealth are Africa, the Americas, Asia, Europe, as well as the Pacific Islands.
So it's far-reaching. Almost every region of the world.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So just tell us what the membership is based on.
Yeah, the membership is based on free will. For example, most recently, Mozambique and Rwanda, who had no historical ties to the British Empire, applied for membership and were admitted into the Commonwealth. Next year, Rwanda will host a Commonwealth Heads meeting.
Wow. Okay. We all agreed, as we said in the beginning, that the Queen is the head of the Commonwealth Nations. And we also have to be reminded that the Queen is 92. As a result, they've been discussing behind closed doors who's going to succeed the Queen. She's been an excellent leader, but, somebody has to eventually take over. Given that it's not an inherited role that is automatically passed on, what has been the final decision about who is going to succeed the Queen, Denise?
This discussion actually happened last year. Initially they thought maybe they would have a leader from the 53 countries. They would actually rotate that every year. But then the Queen suggested and asked if her son Charles would follow in her footsteps. As a result of that, there was a consensus and everyone agreed that Charles should be the head of the Commonwealth when he becomes king. Not only will her grandson Harry and his father be working together, but now incorporate Harry's wife, Meghan, who, I don't know if you remember, she had all 53 Commonwealth countries, the flower from each country, embroidered in her veil when they got married last year.
That was so thoughtful, which means that she's actually thinking and definitely have plans for those youths in these countries.
Yes, I think it's, a very, very, very important that something as intimate as your wedding day, you would give thought to your future role in not just in your husband's life, but in work that he will be doing. So, yes, the 53 Commonwealth countries with 2.4 billion people.
Let's just go back a little to the whole idea that Meghan having these 53 countries, flowers sewn in her veil. What she did literally was to sort of, even before taking on the role, she sort of even shine a light on these countries. Some people have never heard of these countries. And here, the fact that she had those flowers in her veil, I'm sure a lot of people went and started started Googling which countries are those countries. So just by even doing that was just a beautiful gesture on her part.
Yeah, I think it was actually brilliant. And it goes to show how important she feels the role as not just of her husband, but the role that she's going to play alongside him as his wife. She has taken that very, very seriously.
Yes, absolutely.
She's also given her grandmother-in-law the respect and the reassurance that her legacy will continue, because 60% of the Commonwealth nation, the people there are under 35 years old.
And that's
so
like 1.4 billion people.
Yes, their impact will be massive. Basically, what they're doing, they're shaping and influencing the next generation of leaders.
Absolutely.
And in doing so, that will definitely have a ripple effect in the world. Because a lot of people don't realize that these are not just tiny islands that make up these countries. You've got like India.
Canada.
You've got Africa. Yes, Canada. Australia, New Zealand. These are big countries. And imagine having that much influence on young people 35 and under.
Yeah.
That's actually mind-blowing if you think about it.
And listen to what Harry just said recently. He said, it's clear that the 1.4 billion youths of the Commonwealth are most valuable advocates. So he's looking at them as the most valuable advocates that they have. He talked about the power of connected and informed young people is difficult to ignore. So he's really seeing the value in these young people to spread the word or to have that ripple effect, as you said, on whatever they're doing to transform their communities.
Well, yes, I think he's absolutely right, because as you know, whether it's in a corporation or in a government, in a nation, the people of that nation, that's your most important, most valuable asset. And so with that many young people in a country, you're looking at future leaders, future doctors, lawyers.
Yes, and I'm going to even bring my little background, because I know for sure as an educator, young people tend to learn best from their peers. They're not going to listen to the older people in their communities. Who are they going to look to? They're going to look to the people that are like themselves. So if you want a message spread, the best way to spread it is through young people, because they're the ones that is going to listen to each other.
You're right. And as you know, Harry and Meghan are very, very much respected worldwide. They're loved and they're respected. Meghan especially, there's so many young girls, even older women, that really look up to her. Not just because she's married to a prince, but because she had been advocating for so many different things before marriage. In fact, she started advocating since she was 11 years old. Can you imagine that?
I know. And one thing I particularly like about Meghan's message, as she did in the last time that she went to India, is that not only is she educating, but she's also, there's a saying that says that you want to not give somebody a fish because they'll only eat for a day. However, what you want to do is to teach that person how to fish so that they could sustain themselves. And what she does that I really like about her is not only give a donation here and then you solve the problem for a short time, but what she's saying is empower these individuals or give them the know-how so that they themselves can make the product that they need and become business people as well, where they can actually sustain their communities by hiring people. So it's like what she's doing is twofold. One, she's decreasing whatever the situation is, and two, she's also sustaining the community as well. I'm just fascinated by all of what she's about to do.
Exactly. Well, take that even to more recent, since she's moved over to England or to the UK. Even before she got married, she went into a community that had been devastated by fire, the Grenfell fire. She actually lived in Canada when that fire happened. And when she relocated to the UK, she actually went into the community, met with the people. She didn't go out to the people of the UK and beg for donation. She actually found a way to empower those ladies to create not just jobs, but to feed their whole community. How did she do that? She took all the recipes. Imagine, she went into a kitchen, she saw them cooking, and she said, let's put all these recipes together in a book. And not only did she help to create and produce that book made millions so that they could build a bigger kitchen. From that kitchen, they're now feeding the homeless. They're feeding maternity wards. They're feeding a whole community. Imagine that. So she didn't just give a handout. She actually created jobs for other people. And so this is like something that most people had never even thought about doing before.
You see? Excellent. That's just brilliant on her part.
Yes, I think so. I think so.
The youths of the Commonwealth are definitely going to benefit from her with all these ideas. And she understands the concept. You know, it's not about bandaging something. It's about empowering, doing something that's going to have a lasting effect. And that's what is great about her.
Yes. Well, yeah, between the two of them, they're finding solutions to these problems, because one of the things that they're going to be doing is actually giving these young people the tools that they need to work with. As Harry said in his speech, they're going to try to cut through all the red tapes, get rid of all the naysayers, and face the challenges that they need to face in order to equip these young people with the ability and the tools that they need to make the world a better place. Yeah, I was going to say, at the end of the day, they're not only going to be making improvements in their own countries, but the whole world will be benefiting from all of the skill sets, the tools, everything that they're going to be doing. It's going to have a ripple effect in the world.
Yes, and something too that that has to be noted is that in England we have a population of 66 million.
Yes,
right?
Something like.
Yes. So of course there are marginalized youths in England as well, but we also have to take into consideration that here we have 1.4 billion youths.
Billion with a B.
With a B, not in England. And I just think that what they're doing is just, as you said, is far-reaching and it's global. So when we listen to them, we also have to think about, beyond England in and of itself. We have to think about worldwide, what is happening globally. And not only to the Commonwealth countries as well, because once you created something that is successful, once you show how to do something, other countries that are not part of the Commonwealth can also mimic that. That could also be modeled elsewhere. So it's really, far-reaching, as you said.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they're global. And I think oftentimes people in the UK, when they see Meghan and Harry go to an event, they're thinking it's just for the UK. But if you really think about it, with their platform, they're sending these messages outside of the UK, because now whenever they go out, there are people in the Commonwealth, from all the Commonwealth countries, that are looking at them. There are people in the United States that's looking at them. So oftentimes the reporters that follow them, or even the photographers, those people, those reporters, the British press, they're only thinking inside of the UK. What they fail to realize, that Harry and Meghan's role is so much bigger than the UK. They're actually doing it in the UK, but their message is going to a much bigger audience.
And as I said, if you want people to listen, find their youths and people are going to take note. And not only that too, when Harry and Meghan speak, it's just, they're not just saying and not acting. They, as Meghan said the other day, it's all right to just say, but what are you doing? They're really acting. They're putting themselves out there. And you can just see it wherever they go, that the people understand that they're actually bringing something to them. They have something to offer, which is good. So the buying is there already. The whole thing is now, let's get the product.
Yeah, the old saying, action speaks louder than words. Well, I think one of the things that people really admire about both Meghan and Harry, they're not just words. It's not just do as I say. Yes. They're actually, like you said, doers. And so whenever they suggest something, you better believe it's something that they've done themselves. Mm-hmm. They've put into practice. So I think that's one of the reasons why people find them so relatable, because number one, they're able to empathize with the everyday people.
Definitely. Yes, they're relatable. The thing about it is, too, they also have a track record,
Exactly.
Look at the Invictus Game. Look at Santa Bali. Meghan started her thing from the age of 11. So yes, they have a track record, and that's what people want to see. People want to see that you have the know-how, you've been doing this for a while, and you've been successful at it. And, that's their resume in and of itself. And people are going to listen. Not only that, too, people feel the compassion that they have for people that are disadvantaged. So there you go.
Exactly. And if you notice when they interview people that have spoken to Meghan or Harry, one of the first things, especially young people, they'll say, wow, they're like one of us. They don't act as if they're above us or they're better than us. They actually listen. I feel like I was talking to my friend. And isn't that a special gift? When you can get down to the level of someone that they can actually say, I feel like I was speaking to one of my friends. They're one of us.
That's where the buying is going to be. That's where they're going to come off as credible. Whatever they're saying, it's going to be credible because people feel it. They hear it and they feel it.
Yes, and they do feel like, as they say, they're one of us. We can talk to them. They're like our friends. And as Harry once said, he knows that he was born into a life of privilege. Meghan has said the same thing. With privilege comes responsibility. And so there's so many people that do have a privilege or was born into a life of privilege, and that's where it stops. They haven't really done anything with that privilege. And as the good book says, to whom much is given, much is required.
And much should be returned.
And much should be returned. And I think these two young people, they are actually living that out.
Absolutely. And it's just exciting to see what they're going to do next. You remember, Meghan is just, she and Harry is, it's not even 1 year since they've been married, but you would think all what they've accomplished in this short time, you would think that it's like 5 years in, but it's only 1 year. Could you imagine what's going to happen in the future?
Oh my goodness.
It's exciting.
Yes. Imagine. Yeah. It's what, 8 months, 8 months of marriage. Yeah, and it's like already a lifetime of work that's been achieved in their life. And the other thing that I really admire about them, the passion and the enthusiasm that they have for their causes and the work they do. It's just amazing. It just energizes everyone around them.
Absolutely. And you hear, especially when Meghan speaks, you hear that she knows what she's talking about. And the 11-year-old Meghan, back when, as she said, when there wasn't any social media, that she was able to do something and affect change. Just imagine right now what is going to happen with everything that they have, with the Queen's trust and so on for these people of the Commonwealth countries. And as I said, it's not only the Commonwealth countries. We tend to say the Commonwealth countries, but I feel like whatever they're going to do is going to be a model for the world. That's going to what? That's just going to, as you said, it's just going to be a domino effect
Yes.
for the world. I just believe in that. And, it's just exciting to see.
I think so. And imagine Meghan is from America. And so America's taken a very close look at everything she's doing. America is not a member of the Commonwealth, even though America was once a British subject. But yeah, America is no longer a British subject. But yet, America does have a vested interest because of Meghan. So every move that she makes, everything that they do, America will also be paying attention. And I'm sure much of what she is doing, America will also be able to incorporate that in programs that we already have for our young people in this country. Yes, it's a win-win situation no matter where you're from.
Denise, I hope that we have informed our listeners of Harry and Meghan's quest to make the Commonwealth and beyond a better place. If you have any questions, go to My Duke and I website and send us an email, www.mydukeandi.com, or tweet us at MyDukeandI1.
As Meghan rightly said, if you don't discuss them, then you really don't know what's happening. And so we feel like, if you're informed, then we will all be able to make better decisions. And so on that note, I say adieu until we meet again.
Okay.